Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world, my name is Brandon. I am with the Rags to Riches community. In fact, I am the CEO, the CFO. I am the Supreme Ayatollah. And we've got some people here in chat. Let's see who was first. Yup, K coming in number one on a Friday. Can you freaking believe it? What's happening here, ladies and gentlemen? Man, Rags to Riches. What's up, Rags to Riches? Nice to have you in chat here, buddy. I've heard a lot of good things about you. Godfather J6, what's up, fam? D Hexistentialist Evening All. Paul Sachs. What's up, Paul? How's life? Terra, he says, what's up, Rags fam? Yup, K says, new segment called On the Rag to air monthly where Rag just gets wildly emotional about crypto. And you, my friend, are on the couch tonight. Rags, don't be a simp, man. Stop being a simp. Expanded in the house. Anthony Munoz, ¿qué tal vas? Rags and chill. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not often that this happens. It's not often that this happens. It's not often that Rags gets fired up about something. When I get fired up about something, when I get emotionally charged, some really, really cool things happen. And we're going to go all over that here just in a second. I want to say big shout out to Crypto Heartbeat, the man, the myth, the legend. He's in my chats quite a bit, and I very much appreciate him. Just kidding. I hate your guts. Sandy B, way down in Hexaco in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, let's check and see what is the price of Hex doing today. Well, we had a nice little bounce. We got kind of weird there for a little bit, but it looks like we've kind of popped back up in our channel here. If we zoom out a little bit, we will notice, as with most of the market here, we are a total of about 78% down from all-time high. However, unlike the rest of the market, we are up approximately 45% since the March 6th. So that's good. This is good news. We all expected it, though. We've got this on the heels and the eve of Pulsechain, right? Going to get those copies. We're going to launch this thing. We're going to feel good about it. Let's check the rest of the markets here. Bitcoin really, really struggling to hold that $30,000 level. We're currently at 29,194. We got about 7 minutes left until the new candle. Let's see what happens here in 7 minutes. We can return back to this. Obviously, there's a lot of drama in the market right now. And in terms of drama, let's go ahead and check out, well, Luna's hurting. UST is still down 68%. I'm pretty sure that Do Kwon threw in the towel today. So let's talk about him throwing in the towel. But first, let's check chat. Mango Junkie in the chat. Monica Mofit Meals in the chat. AK, how many X's do you think PLS and PLSX will do in 6 months? Keeping in mind, we have a full crypto bear going. I would like to go out on a limb. Most people aren't saying this, and I know this is pretty brazen. This is pretty straightforward, cavalier of me, but let's go with a 5X. Is that what you wanted to hear, ladies and gentlemen? Was that what you wanted to hear? Jim Rat Crypto in a house. What's up? What's up? Good to see everybody here today. Good to see everybody. I want to go ahead and read for you what Do Kwon, pretty much, he had a Terra ecosystem revival plan. Let's talk about what that looks like. This comes straight from his mouth. This was published today. We're going to get some insight into what's happening here. There have been several community and validator groups discussing launching a fork of the Terra chain to make the ecosystem whole from the UST depegging event. Ooh, so he's thinking about forking. Interesting. Wanted to offer my perspective on how this should be done. As of this time, there are still several $billion worth of UST, and the value of Luna token has fallen to essentially zero. Even if the peg were to eventually restore after the marginal buyers and sellers have capitulated, the holders of Luna have so severely been liquidated and diluted that we will lack the ecosystem to build back up from the ashes. While a decentralized economy does need decentralized money, UST has lost too much trust with its users to play the role. So what remains? While UST has been the central narrative of Terra's growth story over the last year, the Terra ecosystem and its community is what's worth preserving. We've built up one of the largest and most vibrant developer ecosystems in crypto, with some of the smartest minds in the world working on products with the best UI UX. Terra Station has a large install base with million-plus users across the world. Although in distress, strong brand recognition and a name that almost everyone in the world will have heard about. The Terra community must reconstitute the chain to preserve the community and the developer system. Validators should reset the network ownership to 1 billion tokens, distributed amongst 400 million, 40%, to Luna holders before the depegging event. The last $1 tick before the depeg. Wow, very interesting. 2, 40% to UST holders pro rata at the time of the new network upgrade. 3, 100 million to Luna holders at the final moment of the chain halt. The last minute marginal Luna buyers should be compensated for their role in attempting to provide stability for the network. And 100 million to the community pool to fund more future development. Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you guys think about this? The rallying cry for the Terra community has always been a decentralized economy needs decentralized money. This is an exciting vision, and while UST has not been successful, the Terra community will find ways of iterating on the idea at some point in the future. So, I find this pretty interesting. I find this pretty interesting in this way. It sounds very, very similar to the issues that we're running into right now. Outside of cryptocurrency, you have a Federal Reserve who's debasing a currency, although not as quickly as what happened here with Terra. It's on a much longer time frame. They're essentially doing the same thing. They are devaluing the currency over and over and over with discretionary financial systems, and it's horrible. All right. So now you get to see in a much, much quicker time frame what happens to a microeconomy can also happen to a macroeconomy. And it has happened many times in the past. Once the currency is no longer viable and every piece, every drop of financial energy has been squeezed out of that currency, we'll just fork, right? The Fed says, we'll just switch to the CBDC. We'll go a different direction here. What do you guys think about that? Is that ethical? Is that moral? Is there going to be anybody that's held to account for this? I don't know. Let's see what Chad has to say about this. Very, 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 very interesting here. All right. Jim Rat Crypto says, "What's up, brother? We don't care about the bear market. I like it. 5x. Aye. Briz says, laugh out loud or shush. I need whatever Duquan is smoking. Yo, I mean, you want to talk about some hopium? That dude's on some hopium. Hexographer. Good afternoon, everybody. Blue. Dougie Peach. What's up, Dougie? Forget Luna." And for all you guys, who I told, watch out, it's going to become delisted and it's not coming back. They're about to fork it and you're not going to get any credit because they're giving everybody, they're airdropping these Luna tokens on this new fork to everybody that was in before the crash happened. So if you bought after, you're screwed. Great job. Great job, guys. And he threw in the towel. He says UST's no more. So UST's no more. Hope you didn't buy UST. Hope you weren't wishing for like a 10x to, $1. Oh, gosh. You can't even make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. Like BitConnect. Yeah, BitConnect was supposed to save BitConnect too. Were they trying to thwart BitConnect? Could be. Rags turns into Biden when tries to say GRC. Blah, 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 blah. You're right. I'm fired up tonight, guys. I'm freaking fired up. I am. I got that emotion. This next part of our show, we've only been doing this for 11 minutes, 46 seconds. This next part of my show, this next part of the show is not intended to be comfortable for some of you in the audience. It's not intended to be comfortable. I'm going to be kind of straightforward about things. And I think as a community, and I'm speaking on behalf of many other communities in cryptocurrency with the words that I'm about to say. And they need to be said. They need to be said in a clear, clairvoyant, structural way. We need to talk about these things. So let's go ahead and get into it. You guys saw the title. We're talking about Bitcoin maximalism. I joined a space today. One of you guys invited me in, right? And at the top of this space, there was a guy. And the guy, his self-proclaimed name was Brain. And he was a Bitcoin maximalist, right? I don't know. There's probably like 200 to 400 people in the space. And I'm just sitting here listening to him. I'm listening to him lie. I'm listening to him lie over and over and over again. And I'm listening to people asking him very clear, direct, respectful, tactful questions. No weird inflections in the voice or anything. And he's just a complete, for lack of a better word, asshole. Tired of it. Something needs to be said about this. Now, let's talk about this. First and foremost, like I said, there will be some of you in the chat that hold Bitcoin. And I'm here to tell you that's okay. It's okay to hold Bitcoin. There will be some of you in chat that hold Bitcoin and you're arrogant, you're sanctimonious, you parrot information that's categorically false. I'm speaking to you and I'm speaking to your hordes of maximalist, toxic, hollow-headed goblins. Take that to the bank. The facts that I'm about to spit right now apply to all of crypto. This is going to be a really big thing to understand while you're listening. I am not targeting Bitcoin. I'm targeting Bitcoin maximalism. Very important. My primary message is to stop lying to people. So I'm sitting back and I'm thinking, how can I attack this? How can I attack this in such a way that, yeah, I'm fired up about it. Couldn't believe, they ended up here, quick story. I asked them 3 questions, 3 very simple questions. Within, I would say 2 minutes, I was being cussed out. I was being belittled and berated. To the point where if I was in the same room with somebody, I'd smack them. I'd just do bad things. And then they booted me. They kicked me out. And some of you heard this. Some of you heard this stuff. But it's okay. I have a mouthpiece too, and I'm going to use it. And I would encourage you, whenever you find these pockets of pus, societal pus, please share with them this video. So here we go. This is not an attack on Bitcoin. It's not an attack on the people here in the chat, but it is an attack on maximalism. Argument number 1, this is what they say. Bitcoin is the most decentralized option out there. Every other crypto can be, screw every other crypto. Doesn't matter. Bitcoin is the shining example of what decentralization is. Fine. Let's talk about that. Let me take you back to the 2008 financial crisis. Let's talk about history here. Banks were bailed out, and the Federal Reserve decided that they would use quantitative easing, and they would use, obviously, taxpayer dollars to take care of these banks, right? It was a horrible, horrible, horrible situation. And the Federal Reserve said, screw the opinion of the American taxpayer. We are going to take their money. We're going to use quantitative easing, which quantitative easing essentially is the Fed creates artificial buying pressure, stimulating the economy and inflating the money supply. So first and foremost, taxpayers were upset that they had no say in the Fed using taxpayer dollars to bail out failed banking business. With that said, it's a pretty strong assumption that whoever created Bitcoin, the Bitcoin experiment was born out of necessity based on what had just happened a year or 2 earlier, right? It's mistrust. We're tired of a system that requires a trusted party. That's disgusting. That's what Bitcoin aimed to solve. One of the things there, right? The Bitcoin white paper actually plainly states that we have a need for a trustless system. All right. And I'm going to kind of talk to you about that. So we're going to read the introduction to the Bitcoin white paper. Commerce on the internet has come to rely almost exclusively on financial institutions serving as trusted third parties to process electronic payments. While the system works well enough for most transactions, it still suffers from the inherent weaknesses of the trust-based model, right? The cost of mediation when you have transactions, for example, that go awry, increases transaction costs, limiting the minimum practical transaction size and cutting off the possibility for small casual transactions. With the possibility of reversal, the need for trust spreads. Merchants must be wary of their customers, hassling them for more information than they would otherwise need. A certain percentage of fraud is accepted and unavoidable. These costs and payment uncertainties can be avoided in person by using physical currency, but no mechanism exists to make payments. What is needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust. We don't want to trust these human beings. Human beings screw this stuff up. Transactions that are computationally impractical to reverse would protect sellers from fraud, and routine escrow mechanisms could easily be implemented to protect buyers. In this paper, we propose a solution to double spending problems using a peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server to generate computational proof of the chronological order of transactions. The system is secure as long as honest nodes collectively control more CPU power than any cooperating group of attacker nodes. Wow. Did you guys just hear that? He delineates. Every node is not the same. There's good nodes and there's bad nodes. And I want you guys, it's very important to remember that. Very, very important. All right. So let's keep going here. What is Bitcoin? I'm teaching you maximalists, what you don't know, what you think you know, but you don't know. Bitcoin had an initial design to be open and accessible to anyone. You could mine Bitcoin from your computer. As time went on, specialized GPUs were created that made Bitcoin networks more secure by increasing the total hash rate. But with higher security, you had higher barriers to entry. People with large sums of money began taking over the hash rate. In layman's terms, computing power of Bitcoin went from highly centralized at Genesis to highly decentralized and then back to centralized. Well, what do I mean by that? Think about it at first. Satoshi Nakamoto, he's mining the Genesis blocks. He ends up mining about 1 million Bitcoin. He mines 1 million Bitcoin here. So at the beginning, you've only got one miner, right? It's not decentralized. It's very centralized at the beginning. As the network began to spread and the word began to spread, people began using their own nodes and this and that. So what happens here is you have a nice, healthy, spread out network of people that are using their own computers and their own GPUs to basically secure the Bitcoin network. But as time goes on, right, and the need for extra hash rate increases, you get kind of an arms race of hash rate. That's what happens. So people had to invest more and more into the hardware. So why is that a problem? The reason that's a problem is because you had to have money in order to make money. So it priced out many, many people out of the market, priced them out. So the people with big money enter tech companies, enter institutions, enter publicly traded companies. They had to come in, and the hash power started becoming very, very centralized all the way up until this point. All right. So as time went on, the market side of Bitcoin had a concentration of capital in a small amount of wallets. And the tech side of Bitcoin saw a massive concentration of hash power. Currently, around 50% are held by 0.1% of mining companies. 50% of hash power is held by 0.1% of mining companies. Brandon, where did you get that information? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm very glad you asked. Okay, you go to fortune.com. Fortune.com did an article about 6 or 8 months ago, and this is how it reads. The top 10,000 individual investors in Bitcoin control about 1/3 of the cryptocurrency in circulation. So that's the money side. That's not the hash side. But using data collection method that differentiated between addresses belonging to intermediaries and individuals, NBER researchers were able to find the former controlled about 5.5 million Bitcoin at the end of last year, while the latter controlled about 8.5. Additionally, the top 1,000 individual investors controlled about 3 million, and the concentration could be even bigger. It probably is bigger. People have multiple wallets. So that's kind of scary, right? Well, let's talk about this. The data did not assign the ownership of early Bitcoins held in about 20,000 addresses to one person, which is Satoshi Nakamoto, and considered them as belonging to 20,000 different individuals. So it's actually worse. Satoshi Nakamoto is sitting on about 1 million. All right, so let's get to the hash part. The concentration of miners is even more profound, the data shows. NBER found that the top 10% of miners controlled 90% of Bitcoin mining capacity. And just 0.1%, about 50 miners, control 50% of the mining capacity. Such a high concentration could make the Bitcoin network vulnerable to a 51% attack, where a colluding set of miners or one miner is able to take control of a majority of the network. Man. NBER found that the concentration also decreases following sharp increases in Bitcoin price, meaning the probability the network is vulnerable to a 51% attack is higher when Bitcoin's price drops sharply. Our results suggest that despite significant attention that Bitcoin has received over the past few years, the Bitcoin ecosystem is still dominated by large and concentrated players, be it large miners, Bitcoin holders, or exchanges. Oh, that's got to hurt your ears, Maxis. That's got to hurt. That's got to hurt. Oh, this is funny. I brought this article up in the space today. What do you guys think these guys said to me? This guy, first thing comes out of his mouth, Fortune.com's lying. Fortune.com's lying. Oh, Fortune.com's lying. Interesting. I had a feeling they might say that. Very, very interesting. That's fine. You can just go to, let's check it out here. You can go to Bitcoin, actually bitinfocharts.com, and it's going to show you like the top 500 addresses and how much Bitcoin is owned. It's going to show you the distribution of such. And in fact, if you guys want me to, right now, I can go ahead and share this. Paste, boom. Let's get this up. Let's show you. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is what it's all about. Bitinfocharts.com. I know there's a lot going on here, but essentially this is what we need to look at. For wallets that have Bitcoin balances of 1 to 10 Bitcoin, okay, the amount of addresses total is about 1.63%, right? 1.63, 1.98. Those wallets own about 1,755,278 Bitcoin. What about wallets that own 10 to 100 Bitcoin? Those wallets only account for 0.31%, but they own 4 times or 3 times the amount. 4.250 million Bitcoin. What about wallets that own 100 to 1,000? Wow, it's getting kind of crazy now. 0.03%. So between the wallets that own 10 to 100 and 100 to 1,000, they own about 8 or 9 million Bitcoin. What, 18 million Bitcoin in existence right now? 18, 19, some in that range. Very interesting. All right, let's keep going here. Check this out. Wallets that have balances of 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin, they own 5,127,881,000 Bitcoin. So as we go up, the amount of wallets decrease, but the amount of Bitcoin that these wallets hold increase. Very, very interesting here. 10,000 to 100,000 Bitcoin, 2,257 Bitcoin. So wallets that hold 10,000 to 100,000, they hold a total of 2,257,931. And this does not even include Satoshi Nakamoto's wallet. So if you want to make the argument to me right now that the OA, for example, of Hex owns a vast majority of supply, take that finger and point it right back at yourself. If you want to make the argument that Pulsechain does, take that finger and point it right back at yourself. The question then becomes, are you willing to say it's a good thing or a bad thing? Are you willing to say it's a good thing or a bad thing? You will never get somebody to admit this. You will never get somebody to look at this data and admit, who's a maximalist, that it is, in fact, very centralized. The hash is centralized, which is the technology part. If you want to separate the hash and you want to separate the market, fine. The hash is centralized at this point, and the market is centralized with all these BTC concentrated in all these wallets. Chat, I'm going to slow down here for a second. Let's check and see what you guys have to say here. Let's check and see. We're going to scroll down a little bit. We're going to get these maxis have no problem. They're fiat inflating. The Fed legalized counterfeiting, but when it comes to Hex, it's a scam. Very, very interesting. I completely agree. I like that. Chaotic Creations, FX Studios. Amen, brother Brandon. Hell yeah. It's got to be said. It's got to be said. And I know a lot of people say it, but I'm going to use this platform to do it. I know Richard's saying it, and it's the truth. And these dumbasses have got to hear it. And you know what? It's not even about telling them. I'm gonna retract that statement. It's about all the people who don't get a different opinion. They don't get the truth because the truth is hidden. As evidenced by what they did to me today. We're having a conversation. I'm polite and respectful at first. At first, polite, respectful, asking questions. I said, how do you square the fact that Satoshi owns 1 million Bitcoin and you said that Bitcoin is the most decentralized crypto project on earth? He didn't like that. He didn't like that at all. I don't have a problem with it at all. And then he went in on me. Okay. Then I asked him two more questions, right? I asked him, how do you square that 0.1% of miners own 50% of the hash? That's a lie. That doesn't exist. Why don't you tell me where you got that information? Gave him the information, gave him the website where I got it. They're lying. It's not true. It's on chain. No, it's not. It's not on chain. And then it just went crazy. It was like pouring gasoline in fire. I'm getting hit from all these places. Some of y'all heard it in here. But these are the things. They don't want conversation. I find it very interesting that from an ideological standpoint, people absorb Bitcoin almost like, you know what? I'm just going to say it. The left absorbs their ideology. It's attacking their identity. But the problem is they can't win in a battlefield of ideas. They can't win in debate. So they immediately go to ad hominem and they immediately go to silence. And these are honest questions that should be thought about. At least acknowledge them as honest questions. Let's get back into it here, ladies and gentlemen. What's the second thing that we hear all the time? Satoshi, he can market dump 1 million BTC that he mined originally if he wakes up one day. They don't like that at all. They don't like that at all. All right. We're going to summarize those points. So Satoshi can dump 1 million BTC any day. Centralized exchanges. Ooh, let's get into centralized exchanges. If the original question is, or if the original statement is from Bitcoin Maxis that Bitcoin is the most decentralized option out there, let's just go through the top 100 here. Let's go through the top 100. And you know what's funny about this? The top 100, it does not even include, let's check. Yeah, there we go. Top 100 doesn't include any of the institutions or any of the nation states that are involved. All right. And it doesn't include either Satoshi's wallet. Keep that in mind. Number one wallet. Look at this. How many Bitcoin we have? 252,597 Bitcoin. Who owns it? Binance. Binance Cold Wallet. Wallet number two, 168,000. 10 Bitcoin. Worth $5 billion. Who owns it? Bitfinex. We're not centralized. We're the most decentralized project on earth. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. 116,601 Bitcoin owned by Binance. Their Binance Reserve, right? Interesting. Another Binance Cold Wallet, 90,000 Bitcoin. OKX, whatever, 69,067 Bitcoin. Bitfinex, 61,553. Okay. OKEX wallet, 43,000. We're going to keep going. CoinCheck, 34,000 Bitcoin. OKEX wallet, another one, 34,603. We're going to keep going here. Bittrex, 29,000 Bitcoin. And look at all these wallets that they're not listed publicly. We don't know whose they are. We can guess. But you want to talk about decentralization? Look at these centralized exchanges and how easy it would be for them to move the market up or down. It is not, and I repeat, it is not decentralized. The network is not decentralized. The market is not decentralized. It might run on a network, but we haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. What about the good stuff? Well, argument two. Bitcoin can't be hacked or exploited. Wow. Let's talk about that. Bitcoin can't be hacked or exploited. You guys have heard this talking point from Richard a lot, but you might be lacking some detail on it, right? On August 15th, 2010, and this is the bug name, CVE 2010-5139 bug resulted, wait for it, 184 billion with a B Bitcoin being minted. 184 billion. What's the total supply of Bitcoin after everything's released? Like 21 million, right? Wow, 184 billion. On the heels of this event, core developers Gavin Anderson and Satoshi Nakamoto had to roll back the blockchain in order to purge this transaction from block 74,638. Well, Brandon, that's just one example, and it happened so long ago, it doesn't matter, blah, 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 blah. Good. September 17th, 2018, CVE 2018-17144 bug was discovered by a Bitcoin Cash developer who selflessly took action before it could be similarly exploited by anyone else who may discover it. The last bug was only 3.5 years ago. Very, very interesting question to ask here. You guys ready for this? Where is Bitcoin's security audit? Has anybody ever decided to audit Bitcoin top to bottom? Where is it? Where is it online? It might be out there, but I searched for it. I sure as hell know that there's security audits for everything else out there. Where's Bitcoin's security audit? That's my question. Why don't more projects build on top of Bitcoin? Maybe because the rest of the world has moved past Bitcoin, the rest of the technology world. Bitcoin is better than fiat, right? And again, I'm not attacking Bitcoin. I'm attacking the people who make these silly arguments and lie to all of their followers to get their followers to buy, to pump their bags. They've been in since 2010. They got to get new blood in here. So what if you have enormous hash rates? So what if you have a ton of nodes? All right, who cares? But what if your code's spaghetti? And what if it's exploitable? When's the next exploitation going to be found? You know, Bitcoin having a ton of security and a ton of hash in a developed network, quote unquote, even if it is centralized, with the code that it has, it's like being the fittest man on the planet with a genetic defect that guarantees cancer before 40. He can go to the gym every day. He can be strong. The network can be strong. But guess what? There's a ticking time bomb inside, and he can't do anything about it because the bug has nothing to do with hash rate. See what I'm saying? In a lot of these problems, they apply to crypto everywhere. It's not just Bitcoin. Again, I'm just outlining, I'm showing you guys what these guys tell you, what you hear on these channels, as compared to what it actually is. Very, very important to know. Argument 3. Oh, this tweaks me, man. This is pissing me off because I've been hearing it more and more in these Bitcoin spaces. Spaces are really, really cool because you get insight into the heads of these people and you find out what's there or what's not there. These Bitcoin maximalists. This is the new narrative. Bitcoin isn't about making money. How many of you guys have been hearing that lately? My jaw's been dropping to the floor. But simultaneously, they state that Bitcoin has out-returned every asset on Earth. Pull up any ROI chart. Nearly every single crypto, ERC20, for example, in the past 3 or 4 or 5 years has outperformed Bitcoin by multiple factors from day one, from the point of inception to, if you want to look at a chart, to whatever point that day that token has been around compared to Bitcoin 365 days out. So Matic from 0 to 365 compared to Bitcoin to 0 to 365. Who ran harder? SHIB, who ran harder? Hex, who ran harder? Pulsechain, who's going to run harder? PulseX, who's going to run harder? It's a lie. It's a lie. We got to stop lying to these people. It's not fair. Bitcoin is not making them out money. So why do they have to do this? The narrative they create, it's about the principle in falling in line with saving the world. They want to save the world from the evil economic and financial powers, which I can get behind. Trust me, I can get behind that. But they're not being genuine. It's not about that to them, really. When you guys listen to my streams, do you have any doubt in your mind that the things that are coming out of my mouth about the geopolitical situation, the financial situation, do you have any doubt that I'm not being honest with you? No, you guys know it. It's not like that with these folks. So why are they doing it? They have to change the narrative. Bitcoin maxis who have been around for a long time, they set the narrative. They have bags they have to pump. Everything else is seen as a threat because that money is what they're going to live on for the rest of their life. Put yourself in their shoes. And if you're a crooked man or a crooked woman, are you going to make these things up? Yeah, they do it all the time. I've seen influencer after influencer after influencer before I understood how this game worked. I heard the same story every single time. They have to create a narrative to get people into the network, and they have to turn it into a moral narrative, and they have to steer away from the financial and the mathematical narrative because they don't have any leg to stand on anymore. The ROI of Bitcoin is decreasing. And they're saying, you know what? It's okay. Let's make a movement here. Let's screw the man. Any Bitcoin that you can buy, it's okay. Be okay with having a 10x, a 15x, or a 20x over the next 10 or 15 years. If it gets to that, ladies and gentlemen, if it gets to that. So that's what they're trying to do. They're twisting words and they're creating a new idea that's going to permeate through their community. And these people, they're really, really good people, and they're just looking for somebody to latch onto that gives them hope. And these influencers, these maxis, they know that. They take advantage of it. Or maybe they don't know it. Maybe they don't know it, and it's just a positive feedback loop. The new narrative being circulated is that you should be okay with only 10x or 20x over the next 10 years. It's about pushing back against the horrible scams in crypto. You should feel dirty if you're putting your money anywhere else but Bitcoin. Meanwhile, as evidenced by the top 100 wallets, the banks, the institutions, they're all laughing all the way to the bank because they've almost pushed out the entirety of retail. And they got these little henchmen, these little puppets underneath them trying to shame people and make people feel bad for making financial decisions for themselves and their families. It's the scum of the earth. And they're too sucked in. They're too sucked into social media and Twitter, and they don't go out and meet these people. They don't care about these people, man. Oh, I'm all fired up, man. Got the daggone vein popping out in my head. All the smart people associated with Bitcoin in the beginning days, they moved on to create projects that filled in the gaps that they saw Bitcoin was incapable of filling in. They've moved on. There hasn't been mass project adoption. They are not building things on top of the Bitcoin network. It's not even accepted widely. It is a store of value, and that's it. That's it. Nothing wrong if you got Bitcoin in your wallet. Thank God you do, and you're not holding something in a savings account right now. But there's better ways, guys. There's better ways. You want to trash hex and you have no understanding of how it works whatsoever. One of the questions one of the statements somebody made was, yeah, if Richard Hart dies, we'll see what happens. Just like when Satoshi Nakamoto wakes up. Richard Hart dies, nothing happens because we interact with the contract. We don't interact with Richard Hart. He's got nothing to do with it. He's got nothing to do with our bags. Nothing. Oh, well, Brandon, the OA addresses, they own X amount of supply, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. You point the finger at me. I'm going to point it back to you, and I'm going to ask you what your solution is. What's your solution for that? Do you think it's a good thing or do you think it's a bad thing? Obviously, Bitcoin has grown quite a bit. You might lean towards that part being a good thing. And then you can use all the examples that Richard uses. Look at Wall Street. Look at every major cryptocurrency. 40, 50, 60, 70, 80% is held by some type of wallet that has something to do with the Genesis address or the team. That's just the bottom line. Point the finger back at yourself and stop lying to these people, blatant lies. So we're 44 minutes in here. The Bitcoin maxis, they have an air of arrogance, of elitism. They're very rarely, I'm going to say not always, very rarely backed by any substantiated thought, any ideas, or any facts. There's a faucet of drivel that comes from the top of these social circles and permeates and flows down and just drips down into these small timers' heads. You know, these street guys, essentially, if you want to think about it that way. And they're just parrots, and they don't listen. They can't hear. They probably never heard truth when it comes to cryptocurrency. So that's all they've ever known. And they trust these people. And you know what these people at the top, you know what they tell? You know what they say? They say, trust me, I know what I'm talking about. What do people in this community say? You know what's funny? You know what people in this community say? Our influencers, they say, don't trust me. Go verify it. Don't trust anything I say 100%. Trust, but verify. That doesn't come out that way. You've got a full sea of these little demagogues running around social media with Bitcoin, and it's horrible. And they don't realize that this is the working class people that they're talking to, the people who work their butt off for their money every day, and they're just playing around with it like it's a freaking game, and it's not a game. And you got to try to be factual. You got to stop screwing these people, man. And it fires me up because I've been around these people all my life. I promise you, I'm a regular person. Everybody in here is regular. That's what I love about my community. Our heads aren't screwed on too tight. We know where we come from. We know how hard it is to survive in this world. And a lot of us have come from nothing. And if you haven't come from nothing, you're damn working hard, because I talk to you guys every single day. Let's get down here. PVM Crypto says, yeah, let's go, Brandon. Cash Up Cash says, this info's gold. He says, thanks for doing the legwork. It's just another example of a non-theistic religion. You right about that. Spitting fire today. PVM Crypto says, we pay our future selves. Richard, even if he has Hex, which I'm sure he does, is just a Hexagon like us. And by the way, if someone targeted him, what's to stop him from 5555 in EES on us? Bingo, right? You have the ability to think. You're doing something in a chat that I don't see people do on stream after 150 videos when I'm researching them. You want the facts, you're getting the facts. These are the facts. Don't trust anything I say here. Just look everything up. Actually, all right, yeah, so here's a good point. Johnny K.S. says, actually, they're all over 90%. BNB is 95%, Solana is 98%. People just don't want to look, and they give sections of the pie different names. Yes, thank you. Correct. Even more. Pointing the finger at Hex, pointing the finger at Pulsechain, but they won't point the finger at themselves. They don't know their own arguments. They don't know our arguments. It's trash. Solana crashed with only 2% in circulation. Scary. Brandon jacked up on 5-hour energy. Yo, that wore off, man. I'll tell you what happened, dude. I ate a fatty ribeye steak, and it got me friggin' wild. Anthony Munoz, Unk ain't messing around. Nah, man. Unk ain't messing around. I'm here for you guys just like you guys are here for me. I'm not special. I'm not special. I'm not special. I'm on YouTube. That's the only difference. And you guys can be on YouTube if you want to. It's not a big difference. But I'm going to call it out. Hex Siren says, yo, 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 yo. Crypto Artie, what's up, fam? So you were there. Crypto Tanya, that Twitter space we entered was very hostile towards Hexagons. You heard what happened. I'm making good points. I'm making solid points. And then bam. Wop, pop, pop, pop. Just cracking me. Whatever. That's fine. Whatever. And here's the move they do. They put you down at the bottom. You can't talk. And then they just go off on you. And they trash Richard for like 15, 20 minutes. That's how that goes. It's unconfiscatable. Where do I love that one. I love that one. If it's deflationary, how does it go to 20 million, 21 million then, right? Deflationary. They don't know. And you hit them with this too. You hit him with this. Yeah. Bitcoin's inflationary. Bitcoin is not inflationary. Are you freaking crazy? This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. You're just embarrassing yourself. Oh, okay. How do miners get paid? I'll wait. Well, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter at that point. They're gone. They're gone. Their reputation's wrecked. Their intellectual fortitude has been tested and has crumbled with simple facts. I'm still looking for someone who wants to build a new crypto influencer ranking site where the only way to make it to page 3 is to show proof of staked X. I'm different. I'm a little bit different. I might be different. I don't know. I honestly don't listen to a lot of Hex influencers and really any influencers out there. And it's because I'm really, really busy creating my own content, right? So I don't know if people are saying this or not, but I want to say this. If you are from another community, we want to help. We want to help you understand the game that you're playing. It's my assumption that if you have a firm understanding of the game that you're playing, then you're going to be able to make better decisions. If that includes Hex, I'm going to be so excited for you. If it doesn't include Hex, I understand. But I aim to give you information that you can use to figure out what you're going to do. I can't do it for you. I'll give you the info and I'll let you make your own damn decision. Cognitive dissonance, so many lies, it's sad. Rags on fire. Duquan has plans to fork it, and only people that held Luna before the crash will get the benefit of the fork, and current UST and Luna would be worthless. This is my understanding based on the latest comment. Pretty funny about that only the people before the crash happened are going to get any Luna. When all these people piled in to give Luna exit liquidity, the Luna users exit liquidity. Guess who didn't give Luna users the exit liquidity? Do Kwon did not. He inflated the supply to try to keep the peg up. He didn't inflate the supply and divvy it out to his users like a benevolent dictator. No, Didn't do that. Screwed up. And everybody's going to go. Everybody's going to say, yeah, we've got 100 D apps on here. We got 100 D apps. It's a lot of value. Somebody's going to invest in us. Let's just fork it. Let's just leave all this behind and let's just forget about it. Let bygones be bygones. Come on, guys. Come on. Doquan, come on. Come on, lads. He likes to use the word lads, I've noticed in his tweets. We're going up right here. We're going to keep going. Oh, gosh, man. Did you happen to watch Alex Lorenzo's latest video? I did not. Matthew principle is a thing. Money accumulates to a few. Doesn't matter how decentralized the creation of that money is. You know why? Everybody wants to say, well, there are portions here. There's a strong argument to be made manipulation. There's going to be money that's concentrated at the top because of manipulation. But there's also going to be money concentrated at the top because of this damn thing. IQ, but more importantly, the small decisions that we all make every single day that add up. Your decisions, your bank account is a mirror of all the decisions that you've made in your life. Let that sink in. You're wonderful. You doing Flat Earth Fridays? Nah. We'll talk to flat earthers, man. I like to talk to everybody. Every single scammer that messaged me first on IG has tried to speak about Bitcoin. Yeah. That's how that works. I was the one that made the comment about Pulsechain. They started getting upset. Others were talking about Binance, Luna, and everyone was okay with other communities, but not Hex. Yeah, I remember you. I remember you asking a really, really good question in my Pulsechain.com Twitter space 2 days ago, and I appreciate you for coming up. You had some really, really good questions, and I also appreciate you coming up earlier because I just got in the space and I saw you talking there. So just want to say it takes a lot of guts to get in front of that many people, even if it is a Twitter space, and I commend you for that. And she did. She got the good word out about Pulsechain, and I liked her message too. Her message was like, hey, listen, let's just get the word out there and then let people do their own research and see if it's something that works for them or not. They didn't like that. Screw Pulsechain. No, she said Pulsechain. I remember she said she was talking about Pulsechain and he was like, screw Hex. No, we're not talking about that. Nope. And she was like, I'm not talking about Hex. I'm talking about Pulsechain. It's the same stuff, same shit. Screw that. Keep going. And then somebody took over, talked on top of her, but she held herself together very well. I really appreciated that. Can't have an intellectual debate if the opposing argument is only denial and hostility. That's how you know. That is how you know in life which side you need to be on. I've seen that over and over again. It doesn't matter what argument. If people start insulting you, it's I'm telling you, the pattern is within 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. If you're having a good discussion, you bring up valid points and they start calling you fat. They start calling you stupid. They say you're from this side of town. They say you're from that side of town. Say you don't know what you're talking about. And they start trying to attack your intelligence. That's a very scary sign. It's a very scary sign that they don't know what the hell they're talking about in their ideologues. It works in everything. 5 to 10 minutes. Watch it. Luna was my first coin to triple. I made a lot of money off Luna 2.5 years ago. I've said that many times. All right, let's hear. Hexiest man in the world. What's up, Rags? Thank you for joining Mo. Steak and Apes and me last night, man. Just got in here. Much appreciated. And yeah, he killed Luna with that Terra. Hexiest man in the world, guys. He just stood up his channel. He's doing streams and stuff. Please go give him a like. Please go give him a sub. All right. Unsubscribe from me and give him the subscription that you gave me. I'm not worth it here. We all know that. I wonder if that will bring back to life the people who lost everything and offed themselves. Negative. Wow, what a substantial comment that was. What a substantial comment. You know what? I don't even remember him talking about that. Who's going to be held to account? Who's going to be held to account? for this. Nobody. The probably one of the most centralized authorities in cryptocurrency was Terra Luna. Between their foundation, between their Federal Reserve Ponzi-nomics, that's what it is. Humans involved afterwards, not immutable code, and they knew that there was a death spiral in terms of slippage and in terms of the peg to UST. They knew it when the code went out. They had the fix. They just didn't put it in place. They had the Bitcoin to shore everything up. They didn't put it in the system. It was sitting in a wallet collecting dust. Who's going to be held to account for this? I'm sorry, man. Everybody's like, take it easy on Do Kwon. He didn't know, etc. Come on, man. Like, this is some amateur shit. Why would you do that to people, man? It's one thing if you didn't know about it. But if you're willfully ignorant or you just don't do anything about it, you knew about it, that's a problem. Like, I've got compassion for people who they're like, there's no way for them to know that would have happened, right? Because there are human beings out there that their whole goal is to cause chaos. And it's hard to stop a human being from causing chaos if they want to. It's almost impossible. It is impossible. Bloom Bomb says, what's up, Richkins? The earth is flat and stationary, and they're going to pull me now. I love blue-footed boobies. I think that's a bird species from, is it from Antarctica or is it from South America? Or maybe it's from South Africa. One of those places. One of those places south. Hexiest Man in the World says you're completely right. What's your channel, Hexiest Man in the World? There you go. Get it. The channel is Network Effects. Network Effects. I love it. No name. No name. Tacos and kisses. Thanks for the tacos and kisses. $20. $20. That's going to go to our Christmas fund this year. These kids are going to be hooked up. These kids are going to be blessed, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you right now, we get 59 minutes here. Just left my main hex token, came over to see my side chick. What's up, Briz? You my side chick too, man. We side chicks. What's going on? What is good in the hood? Hi, Rags. Pulsechain, blah, 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 blah. Hexiest Man World says, Rags, speaking facts, had a close friend. He had been resistant to Hex, who just lost his butt in Luna in a bad way. He's listening now, thankfully. Let me tell you a good story that came out of this. Let me tell you a good story. There was a guy who direct messaged me while I was speaking, and I didn't see this direct message until I got out of that space. And he says, you need to be quiet. You're embarrassing yourself. Okay. I asked him, I said, well, why don't you come on and talk to me live? Debate me live. That's what I asked him about. And he was quiet. And I said, your boys, they won't talk to me. They booted me from the space. Will you talk to me? He was quiet. Then I said something to the effect that, hey, this is typical. This is how this goes down. And then he opens up. After about 20 minutes of conversation, he found out that I was not attempting to be somebody who wants to cause problems. That wasn't what it was about. I'm just asking questions. I'm provoking thought out of people in a respectful way. He ends up agreeing that he hates joining that space because they're so disrespectful to everybody. I appreciated that. At the end, he said, listen, I'm going to put my money in Bitcoin. And I get a lot of the points that you said. I understand that. And I said, that's fine, man. Good luck. Shoot me a follow. Maybe you'll see something you like one day. Maybe not. You can't save everybody. People have to save themselves. It's the cool thing about our contract. You're saving yourself. You're interacting with the contract. You don't have God Richard Hart up there pressing a button that says this guy can stake, this guy can't stake, this guy can stake. No, that's not how that works. It's you in a contract. It's code. It's immutable. It can't be changed. You can't roll stuff back. You can't redistribute wealth like old Do Kwon's doing. He's going to redistribute all that money. All those people who provided exit liquidity for his folks who've been holding for years and years and years. Yeah, those opportunists were actually the ones that got really, really screwed in this. Kind of interesting. and he's not going to give anybody credit. And it's a fork. Well, hey, guys, buying opportunity, right? Go and buy that crap coin. Man. Hey, Rags, what is your opinion on this? How can Bitcoin dominance be inaccurate for market analysis of coins like Hex, or if coins like Hex aren't calculated correctly? How can Bitcoin dominance be accurate? Analysis of coin. Well, can you repeat that? Just ask me that question again, more clean. I don't really understand. I kind of understand, but I want to make sure. That's from a movie or show, Bluefooted Booby. Yeah, I think it is. Hexies, man of the world. I'm all about Christmas fun. Happy to contribute. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you very much. He should have sacked for Luna. He should have sacked Luna for PLSX. Listen, guys, you can't force people to do it. I'm not going to roll up in that space. I can't roll up in that space and try to shill my project and expect things to be okay. It wasn't about that. It was about opening up a conversation and asking them questions that hopefully provoked thought. It's like using a paintbrush. Questions are paintbrushes. That's what it is. This is people's livelihood, not right. They should be accountable. If everyone knew that the code was faulty, Do Kwon must have known too. Not acceptable. Ooh, you want to hear this? Article comes out. This is old Do Kwon, whatever his name is. He was part of a failed stablecoin project, and he used that code, improved upon it, and launched UST with it. Now, I've seen it from a pretty reliable source, news source. Has it been completely substantiated? I don't know. I don't think so, but I haven't checked up on it in about a day or maybe in about 18 hours. So I don't know where they're going with it. But there's going to be people that are looking for some type of recompense here, some reconciliation for what happened, some justice. It's a justice thing. Wow. I wouldn't be able to sleep the first day that Luna was launched if I knew that this was a possibility. I wouldn't be able to sleep. Would you? It would haunt me. It would tear me down. And this is normal. This is why when we say things are, when our projects are immutable, it actually means something that's so important. If you have a project that you spent a long time developing and you put blood and sweat and tears and you work the math out over and over and over, and you did your very, very best to make sure that there were no imperfections in that code that you could tell. And then you press a button that says, this can never again be changed. It's immutable. Do you guys now understand? A lot of you people hear that word and you just don't get it. Do you understand why it's so important? Compare that with Luna. Compare it with Luna. When code changes, when you screw things up, not only what screws up humans' heads, when they know they can change things in the future, they're not going to be as thorough up front. Because they're like, yeah, let's just fail fast. You don't fail fast with cryptocurrency. There's too much on the line. It's too much at stake. It really is the damn highest of stakes here, folks. Too much on the line. Screws people's heads up. They think they get mulligans. You don't get mulligans in cryptocurrency. You shouldn't be able to. That's why immutability is so cool. It's so important. And most don't have it. Eric Bishop Hex is the most correctly calculated crypto in existence. Eric Bishop Hex is the most correctly calculated crypto in existence. There's an origin address with some daughter addresses that is a benevolent force. That is completely true. He is part of the basis cache created by Rick and Marty. Wasn't doxxed when he did it. You're talking about Do Kwon. Yeah, I remember reading that. What? And now it's coming out. The truth is coming out. I don't like to make unsubstantiated claims, but think, is there something wrong with that dude, man? Is there something wrong with him? Is there does he have the inability to feel empathy here? Or guilt or shame? Yeah, sorry, man. So Hex being such a high market cap would affect Bitcoin dominance, but it doesn't show up in any of the calculations for it. So how can it be an accurate tool to use? It does show up on TradingView. You can calculate dominance. You can calculate the percentage dominance based on Hex and total crypto market cap or Bitcoin, whatever the case may be. You can. Hex being such a market would affect Bitcoin dominance. It does affect Bitcoin dominance. It does. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what? We've been going for an hour and 7 minutes. We're all fired up. I'll let you guys make the decision, but this could be a good video to use to kind of to talk about. Take some of the points I made and just go and verify what I said. The worst thing in the world is to listen to me and then use these points, but not have any knowledge or experience or research to back them up in your own head. So, it's always a type of thing where I could screw something up. So, but I always do my best to bring the facts, and I think I did a good job of showing my work here. And just know that these people in this crypto space, I can take any random person in our community and pit them against one of these Bitcoin maxis, and you would absolutely slay them. It's not even difficult. It's not even difficult, guys. They just don't know. They talk out of their butts. It's virtue signaling to the community. Hexiest man in the world says his colleagues are the ones that outed him. And yeah, when one has integrity, how can they sleep? The bigger it got, one would think the more sick he would get. Rather, he found more resolve. It's bad, man. It's bad. Can you drop the URL, 50% hash power? Yeah, I'll put it in the chat right now. I got it right here. Copy and paste. There you go. There's that URL if you guys want to check out the article that cites all that and the study that did all that work. Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been a night. I'm fired up. It's 8:58. I'm sure there's some really, really cool streams out there that are popping on. I know that I normally go much earlier, but I had to make sure that I brought the right information to you guys tonight, and I took a little bit longer. So I hope I didn't step on anybody's shoes. Do not like, do not comment, do not subscribe. Please head over to the Hexiest Man in the World. And we're going to go ahead and cut this out. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brandon Davis, and I am out.